In this tutorial, we will learn how to connect the HC-05 Bluetooth module to the Raspberry Pi Pico. We will use the MIT App Inventor to create a simple app that will allow us to control electronic components. We will start with a very basic example to turn an LED on and off. After that, we will connect a few LEDs to the Pico to control different patterns. We will create 3 different patterns to choose from. Then control a relay to turn a light on and off. If you are new to this channel, press that subscribe button, and if you are a returning viewer, welcome back. Let's first have a look at the HC-05 Bluetooth module. This module is a commonly used Bluetooth device that uses UART communication protocol. It has multiple pins for different method of operation, which makes it unique compared to other modules. The module operates typically at UART serial communication with TX and RX pins at 9600 baud rates. This pinout diagram provides indication of all the pins. We will only use 4 pins for the demonstration today to interface our module with the Raspberry Pi Pico. The module connection to the Pico is easy as we will be using the serial communication interface consisting of 2 pins TX and RX. We need to use the UART communication port of the Raspberry Pi Pico board, and looking at the pinout diagram of the board, it contains 2 UART channels, UART 0 and UART 1. Follow the schematic diagram to connect the Bluetooth module and LED. We will connect the serial communication TX and RX to UART. These are pins 1 and 2 of the Pico, which is the GPIO 0 and GPIO 1. The VCC pin is connected to the 5V power supply and the ground to a common ground rail. We will connect the LED to GPIO 14 and use a 330 ohm resistor to limit the current through the LED. Now that we have a working circuit, we can go to Phony to write our program. The code is available on my GitHub repository, linked down below. Open example 1 and copy all the code. In Phony, paste this code in a new file. Now let's go through this code line by line. We will start by importing the pin and UART function from the machine library. Then we will create the UART object using the UART function and specify the UART channel as the first parameter and the baud rate as the second parameter. We are using UART 0 in this case with a baud rate of 9600 for the communication protocol. Next we will define the GPIO pin to connect with the LED. We will use GPIO 14 in this example. You can use any appropriate output pin. We will configure the LED pin as an output through the pin function and pass the GPIO pin as the first parameter and pin out as the second parameter inside it. We then create an infinite loop. We will check if we receive any data from the UART channel. If there is any data, it will be saved in a variable data. This is done by using the UART read function. We convert the data received as a string and print out the data we received in the terminal. In the Android app, I will send the text LED on when we want to turn an LED on and LED off for turning it off. So we create another if. If we receive LED on from data, we will set the LED value to 1 to turn it on. Else, if we receive LED off from data, we will set the value to 0. Now that we have a program, we need to create an Android app for this program to receive data through our Bluetooth module. We will use the MIT App Inventor. MIT App Inventor is a web application integrated development environment originally provided by Google and now maintained by MIT. So what you're going to do first is click on Create Apps and then you will sign in with your Gmail account. Now accept the terms and services. Just click on Do Not Show Again and hit Continue. Now make sure to start a blank project. And here you can give it any name, and we are just going to call it Raspberry Pi Pico tutorial. And then we can press OK. This here is a designer screen, and this is where you will design the user interface, change the layout or any other things you want to add to your app. And we have the block section where you will add the functionality or the code of your app. We will start with the designer section first. Now you can add multiple screens, but since our app is very simple, it's just going to have one screen. So the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to add a channel name and also a title of the app. So here on the side, I will go to layout and I'm going to click horizontal arrangement. Now this will make this block here. I want to make sure that this all is centered and that this width fills the whole parent, so fills our whole screen, and press OK. Now I'm also going to take away the background color and just make it to none. Now I can go back to user interface and I can drag in a label here. Now it will automatically be in the middle. I'm going to change this font size to 26. I'm going to make it bold. And for the text, we are going to write here, Nerd Cave. Now I'm going to repeat this whole process again, but just do it for LED example. Now I'm going to add another horizontal arrangement. Make sure the width fills the whole parent. Make sure to have no background. And then inside this I'm gonna add two more, because now I want to add an icon for my Bluetooth and text to select my Bluetooth devices. I will just go make sure that my first one again is set to center, and this one as well. Now inside this first block I'm gonna go back to user interface and I'm going to add an image. Now I will click here where it says picture none and I'm gonna upload a file. Then I will click on choose file. I have uploaded the Bluetooth icon on the GitHub repository as well. Now hit OK and you'll see your Bluetooth icon will appear. Again, I'm just gonna remove this background color which is default and just make it to be none. Now inside the second block, I'm going to add a list speaker which will allow us to select our Bluetooth devices. So I'm going to scroll down here and just change the name to select Bluetooth device. Now we can go and stylize this a bit. I'm going to make my font bold, make the shape to be rounded. I'm going to make my text color white and set my background color to black. Now go and add another horizontal arrangement. Again, make sure that the width fills the parent. And then this time we're gonna add a vertical arrangement. Also again, make sure that this is aligned in the center. Inside this vertical arrangement, we are going to add an LED image. Again, this is available on GitHub. Now you might see that your screen is not scrollable. To fix this, we'll go all the way to top. Click on screen 1 and then down below here we can make our app scrollable. Now if we go up, we can see we can scroll on our app. Now I just want to add a switch below my LED picture. Let's just change the text to say off and on. All that is left to do now is go stylize a bit. So I'm just gonna go back to horizontal arrangement, make all the color to be none. The last and most important thing we need to do is to make sure that we add Bluetooth functionality. So scroll down here, go to connectivity, click on Bluetooth client and then just drag it here. This will show up here at the bottom. So now that our basic app is done, we can go to blocks to add all the functionality. The first thing we want to do is go and select all our Bluetooth devices. So we'll go down to list speaker and say when list speaker before picking. Now we'll go back again and you'll scroll down and we want to set the list speaker elements and we are going to set this to the Bluetooth client addresses and names. So scroll down to Bluetooth client and here we have Bluetooth client 1 addresses and names. Now after we have selected the address and name, we want to call that Bluetooth client and connect to it. So go back to list speaker. So we will go after picking. And then we are going to add an if statement. So scroll all the way up here and go to control and add this if then block. Now scroll down again back to Bluetooth and we will click on call Bluetooth client.connect and we are going to make sure it is set to the selection we have made here. So go back to list speaker again and we are going to use this block here, list speaker selection. So this will make sure that we take the selection that we have made here. Then after this, we want to set the text of our list speaker to connected. So we'll go here and look for text. And here we have the set list speaker text to. And we want to set this to connected. So scroll up and go to text. And we can change it here to connected. So that is all for our Bluetooth part. Now we're gonna go add some functionality to a switch. If the switch is on, we want to send the text LED on. And if the switch is off, we want to send the text LED off. Scroll down to switch and click here. And then we want to say when's the switch change. Now we will include an if then and else block. And now we want to do some simple logic. So we'll go to logic here, and we want to say if the switch is on, we'll set that equal to true. So go back down to switch. If the switch is on, we set that equal to true. So go up to logic and we'll make this to true. Now if it is true, we want to call the Bluetooth client and send the text LED on. So we will go down to Bluetooth client again and use this one called Bluetooth client.send text, and we are going to send a text then over our UART. And we will send the text LED on. Now we will just add another if statement here under the else to check if it is false, and if it is false, we will send the text LED off. We can also just copy and paste this. Set this equal to false, copy and paste this block here, and make this to be LED off. And that is that. That's a simple program how we can toggle a switch to turn an LED on and off through the Bluetooth. To test the app or download the APK, go to the Google Play Store and download the MIT AI2 companion. The first thing we are going to do is click on Connect and click on AI companion. Now this will bring up a QR code and also a code you can type in on your app. Now on your phone, open MIT AI2 companion. So I can enter the 6-character code, or I can scan the QR code. Now this will generate the app on my phone. And here I have the app on my phone. So just for reference, here I have the app on my phone. Now the first thing we need to do is go select Bluetooth device. Now if it is the first time connecting to the Bluetooth module, it will ask you for a password. The default password is 1234. So I'm gonna press on that one there. And then we can see we are connected. Now if I toggle the switch, the LED will come on and off. So now that we know the basics of MIT App Inventor and the Bluetooth module, we can expand on this project. Here is the schematic diagram of the second example. 5 more LEDs are added and a relay to control a light. You can find the code for example 2 on GitHub, go and copy the code and paste it in a new file in Phony. We will not go through so much detail and just an overview on how the code works and the MIT App Inventor code blocks. This time we will import a UTime library to use the sleep function for delay. We make a list of all the LED GPIO pins, then we assign each LED in the list as an output using the pin function. We also create a variable relay and set it to GPIO 18 and make it a pin out. We create a function called pattern1 to control the LEDs. This here is the classic Night Rider LEDs, covered in detail in a previous video on my channel. Pattern 1 and 2 are just patterns I have made by controlling LEDs to turn it on and off in a specific pattern with delays in between. We will do the same procedure we did in example 1 in the endless loop to check for data. The only difference now is that we will have multiple if and elif statements to check which LED should be on or off. We will also check for a button being pressed on the app to call the pattern functions. And the last if statement will be with our relay to see if the relay is being toggled on or off. The second app is almost the same as the one in the first example. The only difference is that you have more LEDs to toggle on and off, 3 buttons to display different patterns, and a toggle switch for a relay to turn a light on and off. I will include this project file on my GitHub if you want to make any changes to it. In the blocks, we have the same method to connect to the Bluetooth. For the LEDs toggle, we will duplicate one switch logic 5 times and update the blocks to match the specific LED. The button logic is very straightforward. When we press the button, we send the text over the Bluetooth communication through the UART. And finally, we have a toggle switch for the relay as well to control the relay to be either on or off. Here we have our final circuit and Bluetooth module that is connected to the app on the right. The LEDs can be controlled individually by using the toggle switch, and we have 3 buttons to display different patterns. The relay is connected to the LED base lamp that is connected to the mains power of 220 volt AC. I hope you found this tutorial useful, and for more tutorials on a Raspberry Pi Pico, go to my channel, and while you are there, click on that subscribe button.